And so it has finally come, the mathematical elimination of the New Jersey Devils from the 23-24 NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. A solemn day for your ever optimistic boy here. As well, as of this recording, technically it hasn't happened yet, but the Isles, whether they hit overtime or close out the game in regulation, I think even if they somehow blew it with 2 minutes left, losing to the Rangers in regulation, with their remaining games, I think still one against the Pens or somebody still in the race, and then with the Pens playing Detroit still, it is impossible for the remaining teams above us, for two of them at minimum, to not hit 86 points with us, even if we won out these last three, maxing out at 85 points, and thus the mathematical elimination occurs. Double check me if that's not the case, but regardless, I think we all know it was coming to this here in the past couple weeks anyway. You know, there were some wins we left on the table that we could have remained in it, given that a lot of the other teams here in this race also have been dropping games like absolutely crazy, but it just wasn't to be. If anything, I would say the news that came out today of Jack Hughes shutting down for the season. Of course, I have him in finals in fantasy hockey, and that's how it goes, but will not play for the remainder of the year, is projected to be fully healthy and ready heading into training camp and the next season next year. So no worries in that regard. But yeah, I believe end result here was 5-2 against the Toronto Leafs, Maple Leafs technically, as our elimination game. We still have to play them one more time. Of course, we'll get the LFR Dangle reaction video to this one, but yeah, I mean, they had their full lineup humming at full max capacity. We were down our best player. Lazar is basically out for the season. We're missing our top number one defenseman and all of that. We kept it interesting. So let's go ahead and recap the game a little bit here, I guess. Of course, we did give up the opening goal. Still a chance we get that record, I think, giving up the most first goals over an entire regular season. It was fairly unfortunate. Now, I'm not going to say it was all on this, as we did have a broken stick from Haula. Well, Siegenthaler, Haula handed Siegenthaler his stick, and then Haula attempted at a point to go recover his stick, and it was at that time that the goal occurred. But really, the biggest issue was our defensemen were out there for about a minute and a half on their shift, and that's just poor play as the team as a whole not being able to clear the zone and allow the D-men to get a shift change, because that's what happens. You get hemmed in. They're super tired. They can't clear out the net front. They are not the quickest to react to the puck sitting out in front of their goaltender, and so the loose puck is collected by the other team. Puck's in the back of your net, and being down a man, not just without his stick, but he raced to the bench to go get a replacement. Never made it back in time. 1-0. But we clawed it back there a bit. We had Nico Hischier being an absolute hero, counting in on 2 goals. His goal from himself, just a bull of a play there. One-man show. Deking, stick handling around the Toronto defenseman, and then beating Woll fairly clean there for a fairly highlight reel goal there from our captain, Nico Hischier. Shout out to the boy. Always love him. And then he was the primary assist there on the power play goal by Dawson Mercer, who makes his living there at the net front, collects a good rebound, is patient with it, and buries it around Woll. And that's where the Devils' goal scoring would end. There is not too much positives to take away from this one at all beyond that, as I'll go ahead and cover the Leafs goals here in a moment. But I did like the Smith-Ball pairing. I felt like it overall actually did quite well. Luke with Marino was not the wave. Somehow DeSimone is the answer there with Luke, and Nemec Siegenthaler was absolutely not it. So I don't know what the plan is for the defense heading into next season. Maybe hope with Dougie back, Siegs can kind of slide back in with him and find his groove again. Then you maybe do a Luke Nemec on the second pairing with their second years in, or you'd do, we just saw Luke, and Marino has been fairly up and down all season. It's had its games, but it's also had some absolute brutal ones as well. And then that would leave Ball, Nemec with Smith as your 7th defenseman potentially, but maybe there's a lot of different defensive options there. Will be very interested to see how Fitz handles the defense on this one, as Siegenthaler has not really been it this year. And, well, you're definitely not getting rid of Marino unless it's in a basically can't turn down trade package type deal. Because I do feel like outside of a little stretch at the start of the season, Marino has been quite good. Wasn't his game here in this one today. But really, it wasn't anyone's game outside of maybe Brendan Smith, who, again, I felt like was jumping up in plays, shutting down other ones, strong on the PK. If he could play like this for a full 82, I'd have no issue with him as the 60 on the team, let alone the 7. So I'll say this: I thought Jake Allen actually had a pretty good game. Maybe a little bit better rebound control. Don't go for the poke check there on the first one. Now to recap the remaining Leafs goals here a little bit, I guess. The second one was Bertuzzi's, I want to say. That one was where, again, just a bit of unforced errors, really, by the Devils, where they overload to Matthews in the middle of the ice, allowing Domi, who is an extremely good passer. I don't know if this has just kind of been low-key on the season or just on his career, but Domi can pass the puck, and he puts it on a tee there for Bertuzzi, who has a wide open net, basically left alone. His ball was kind of there to cover him, but also caught between him and Matthews. We had the forwards all gravitating towards Matthews. I don't blame him, as we'll talk about here in a moment, but Bertuzzi, you can't leave a guy like him wide open either. 2-2. 10 seconds, or just under 10 seconds, it would seem later. They take the 3-2 lead off of just maybe a self-screen by Nico cutting across there a little bit, or maybe it was the defenseman as well, a double screen a bit. But Giordano just blasted from the point, gets his fourth goal of the season. Allen really just did not see it at all. And then Austin Matthews, the best goal scorer in the league, does Austin Matthews, best goal scorer in the league type things, and puts in a puck from a spot that maybe most guys aren't as dangerous in, but Austin Matthews, he is. And so that was it. Seals it away, empty netters, whatever. I actually felt like we generated some pretty good chances with the goalie pulled there, especially on the power play. A little bit less so when it moved to 6-5, but hey, that's how it goes. Thankfully, the penalty kill actually showed up in this game, albeit technically a goal did get behind Allen on the PK, but only because of Tavares illegally knocking the puck out from under his glove. Didn't end up mattering too much there in the end, but I guess you can somewhat take that away, as the PK did dip a bit here in recent play after it was a strength for a while. Kind of the inconsistency being a consistent thing, as Bill has been saying about the Devils so far this year. And yeah, that was it. Jeez, I'm all over the place. Oh, God, we play the Leafs again, then the Flyers. One more, close out the season, and that'll do it. We got pretty much outplayed in this one. Maybe the first was a little close. Not even. I don't even think it was that close, but maybe a little bit closer. But then second and third's not so much. Nico and Bratt, I felt like were our two best players. Timo, actually, I felt like was a bit better again in this one. Again, not on the score sheet, but it wasn't playing with the best of guys either. I think he's good enough to be able to do it on his own, but I personally would have liked to have seen a Timo, Nico, Bratt line for a little. Once we went down by that goal there with that 10-second stretch, throw that out there like you do with the Jack Nico, Bratt line. I would have liked to see that a bit. So that's probably my biggest criticism deployment-wise. Holtz had his moments. Mercer hit 20 goals. Great to see that for him. It's been a down year. Kind of works out in our favor a bit, thankfully. He was projecting to get himself a pretty decent and nice payday, and instead, this season has tempered that a bit. Maybe he gets a bit more of a bridge deal. We'll see exactly how that plays out. But I think in the long run, it actually does work out for us, especially in our hopeful Cup run era coming up here soon, as our younger team does continue to get older. I think that's really it. I don't really have anything too negative. We were playing Shane Bowers on our top line. We have, Nolan Foote playing his very first game this season. I think for his first game in, I like seeing him being a bit physical, was nice. The fourth line didn't kill us. If anything, surprisingly, it was the Brett Nico line that was on the ice for multiple goals against. Now, was that Bowers getting beat on coverage? I'll be honest, I don't know the full system Green is running here in the D zone. So I don't know exactly to pinpoint there, but it was their line. And for Nico and Brat, who are usually guys that are just not on the ice for goals against very often, to have it happen multiple times, is it the new guy on the ice that's, maybe still getting acclimated and against other top competition they put Nico out against? Maybe, but hey, that's how it goes. So that's it. It's finally happened. We have been eliminated. 3 more games, and we can all take a little bit of a rest and just hype ourselves up again this next off season, as I will for sure be doing. So that's going to do it, guys. As always, and forever. Let's go Devils, baby.